The ring cost me 3 months of overtime at the garage. Claire held it up to the candlelight like she was inspecting a suspicious diamond at a pawn shop, her perfectly manicured fingers turning it this way and that, while her friend Sienna recorded everything on her phone. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Eddie, honey, Claire said, her voice dripping with that particular brand of condescension she'd perfected over our 2 years together. This is sweet, really. But I told you I wanted something memorable, something worthy of posting. This feels so ordinary. The rooftop restaurant buzzed around us. Other couples glanced over, some smiling at what they assumed was a romantic proposal. I'd planned this for weeks, called in favors to get the best table, even bought a new shirt that didn't smell like motor oil and brake fluid. Claire wore the black dress I'd bought her for Christmas, the one that cost more than most people's rent. I thought you'd like it, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. It's exactly what you showed me in that magazine article, That was months ago, Eddie. She set the ring down on the white tablecloth like it was contaminated. I've grown since then. My expectations have evolved. Sienna's engagement was featured in 3 different blogs. 3, and Marcus proposed with a flash mob in Times Square. Sienna nodded eagerly, still filming. It got 20,000 views on TikTok in the first hour. I looked around the restaurant. The other diners were starting to stare openly now, sensing drama. The waiter who'd been hovering nearby with champagne retreated awkwardly to the kitchen. So, what exactly are you saying, Claire? She leaned back in her chair, studying me like I was a particularly disappointing purchase she was considering returning. I'm saying you need to try again. Do it right this time. Make it special. Make it worthy of me. The words hit me like a wrench to the gut, but something else rose up to meet them. Something cold and calculating that I'd inherited from my old man, who'd taught me that sometimes the best response to disrespect was absolute silence. I reached across the table and picked up the ring. Claire's eyes widened slightly. She'd expected me to argue, to plead, to promise to do better. You're absolutely right, I said, slipping the ring into my pocket. You do deserve better. Well, I'm glad you finally... That's why I'm setting you free. The silence stretched between us like a taut wire. Sienna's phone was still recording, capturing every second of Claire's confusion as she processed what I'd just said. What do you mean, setting me free? I stood up, pulled out my wallet, and left enough cash to cover the bill and a generous tip for the waiter who'd have to deal with the aftermath. I mean, the engagement's off, Claire. You want something worthy of you? Go find it somewhere else. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. Around us, the restaurant had gone completely quiet. Even the kitchen staff had stopped clattering dishes. Eddie, wait, you can't just... Can't just what? Listen to what you're telling me? Take you at your word when you say I'm not good enough? I shrugged into my jacket. You've been pretty clear about what you think of me and my efforts. Message received. I walked away while she was still sputtering, leaving her at that perfect rooftop table with her perfect view and her perfect friend with the perfect phone recording what was about to become the most imperfect moment of her very curated life. The elevator ride down felt like the longest and shortest 30 seconds of my life. By the time I reached the parking garage, my phone was already buzzing with texts. I turned it off and drove home in blessed silence, already planning what I'd do with the money I'd been saving for our wedding. The billboard company was surprisingly easy to work with, especially when you paid cash up front. They had a cancellation on the highway route Claire took to work every morning, prime real estate, visible for miles in both directions. I kept the message simple. Claire, you're absolutely right. You deserve better. That's why I'm setting you free. Engagement canceled. No risk. Eddie. The installation crew finished at dawn. I drove past it once on my way to the garage, admiring their work. 40 feet wide, impossible to miss, positioned perfectly for the morning commute. My phone had been buzzing all night, but I'd left it off. This morning, I finally turned it back on. 47 missed calls from Claire, 12 from Sienna, 6 from numbers I didn't recognize, and a text thread that had grown to over 200 messages. The first few were angry. What the hell is wrong with you? This is insane. Take it down right now. Then confused. Eddie, please call me. We can work this out. I didn't mean it the way it sounded. People are starting to share photos. Then desperate. My boss saw it. My parents are calling. Please, Eddie, this isn't funny anymore. I made coffee and read them all while eating breakfast. My neighbor Linda knocked on the door around 8. Eddie, honey, I hate to bother you, but there's a news van outside Claire's work, and my daughter just sent me a photo of some billboard with your names on it. Everything okay? Linda was 72, sharp as a tack, and had never much liked Claire. She'd lived in the building longer than anyone and had opinions about everything that happened within a 3-block radius. "Everything's fine, Linda. Claire and I decided we weren't right for each other." "Mm-hmm?" She studied my face carefully. "And this billboard business?" "Sometimes you need to make sure everyone gets the message at the same time. Saves on phone calls." Linda's weathered face cracked into a grin. "You know, I never told you this, but that girl had visitors while you were working late. Different car every week, parked in your spot like they owned it." My coffee cup stopped halfway to my mouth. "Visitors?" "Young man in a silver BMW. Fancy suit, fancy watch. Always left before you got home, but he sure made himself comfortable. Brought flowers a couple times. Wine once or twice." The cold feeling in my chest spread outward like spilled ice water. "How long has this been going on?" "Oh, months now. Started right around Christmas, I'd say. I minded my own business, but after seeing that billboard, I figured you might want to know." I thanked Linda and closed the door, my mind racing. Christmas was when Claire had started talking about wanting a better proposal, when she'd become critical of everything I did, everything I earned, everything I was. My phone rang. Claire's number. I let it go to voicemail, then played it back. "Eddie, please. This is getting out of hand. The whole internet is talking about it. My coworkers are sending me screenshots. My mother called crying. Just call me back so we can fix this like adults." I deleted the voicemail and opened my laptop. A quick search for Claire's name brought up dozens of results. The billboard photo was everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit. Someone had even made it into a meme with different captions. But it was the comments that really caught my attention. Apparently, I wasn't the only one with opinions about Claire Dalton. "OMG, is this the same Claire from college? She did the same thing to my friend Brad. I work with her. Trust me, this guy dodged a bullet. My cousin dated her in 2019. She cheated on him with his roommate. Plot twist. What if she deserved it?" The comments went on for pages. Stories I'd never heard, patterns I'd been too close to see. Claire had a history, and the internet was more than happy to share it. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Is this Eddie Turner? This is Blake Jordan. I think we should talk." Blake Jordan. I Googled the name and found a LinkedIn profile. Venture capitalist and investment strategist. The profile photo showed a guy about my age with perfect teeth and the kind of haircut that costs more than most people's grocery budget. Silver BMW in the parking lot. Fancy suit. Fancy watch. I texted back, "Sure, my garage. 2 p.m. 1247 Industrial Way." His response came immediately. "Can we meet somewhere more appropriate? Coffee shop, maybe?" My garage, 2 p.m. Come alone. Blake Jordan pulled into my garage lot at exactly 2 o'clock, his silver BMW gleaming like he'd just driven it off the showroom floor. He stepped out wearing a suit that probably cost more than I made in a week, looking around my shop like he'd accidentally wandered into a junkyard. I was under the hood of a '67 Mustang, hands deep in engine grease, when he walked in. I didn't look up right away. Let him stand there for a minute, taking in the smell of motor oil and the sound of classic rock playing from my ancient radio. "Eddie Turner?" His voice had that smooth, practiced quality of someone who made his living talking people into things. "That's me." I wiped my hands on a rag and turned around. Blake was shorter than I'd expected, maybe 5'8" in expensive shoes. Good-looking in that generic way that came from personal trainers and dermatologists. "You must be the guy with the silver BMW." His smile faltered slightly. "I'm not sure what Claire told you." "Claire didn't tell me anything. My neighbor did. Said you've been making yourself comfortable in my parking spot for months." Blake's face went through several expressions before settling on what he probably thought was sincere concern. "Look, Eddie, I can see how this might look, but Claire and I are just friends. Business associates, really. I've been helping her with some investment opportunities." "Investment opportunities?" I nodded slowly. "Is that what we're calling it?" "I understand you're upset about the engagement, but taking it out on Claire publicly like that billboard stunt—" "Who said I was upset?" I interrupted. "Claire told me I wasn't good enough. I agreed with her. Set her free to find someone who meets her standards. Seems like she already had." Blake shifted uncomfortably, his polished confidence starting to crack around the edges. "I think you've got the wrong idea about—" "Do I?" I pulled out my phone and opened the Photos app. See, the funny thing about living with someone is they leave things around. Like their iPad, still logged into all their accounts. Blake's face went pale. "Want to see some of the messages I found? Or should I just read you the highlights?" I scrolled through the screenshots I'd taken before Claire could change her passwords. Eddie's working late again. Come over at 9. He's so clueless. Thinks I actually want to marry him. Can't wait to dump the grease monkey and upgrade. Eddie, listen. Oh, this one's my favorite. I found the screenshot and held up the phone. Blake says he'll take me to Paris for New Year's. Real men know how to treat a woman. That was sent 3 days before Christmas, right around the time she started complaining about my proposal plans. Blake looked like he wanted to run, but his BMW was blocked in by my tow truck. Max, my business partner and oldest friend, had arrived early for his shift and parked strategically. I never meant for it to go this far, Blake said. Claire said you two were basically over anyway, that the relationship had run its course. Did she now? I set my phone down on the workbench and picked up a socket wrench, testing its weight in my hand. Tell me, Blake, what exactly did you think would happen here? You'd confess, I'd forgive you, and we'd all move on like civilized adults? I was hoping we could work something out. Maybe keep this between us. I know Claire hurt you, but destroying her reputation won't bring you any peace. Who says I want peace? I smiled, and Blake took an involuntary step backward. See? The thing about being underestimated your whole life is that people never see you coming. Claire thought I was too stupid to figure out what was happening. You thought I was too weak to do anything about it. Both of you were wrong. What do you want? I want you to understand something, Blake. That billboard was just the opening act. Claire wanted a memorable proposal. She's about to get one hell of a memorable breakup. Max emerged from the office, wiping his hands on a shop rag. He was 6'4", 250, with arms like tree trunks and a face that had been rearranged by too many bar fights in his younger days. He nodded at Blake like he was noticing him for the first time. This the guy? Max asked. This is the guy. Huh, smaller than I expected. Max moved to lean against Blake's BMW, his considerable weight making the car's suspension creak. Nice car. Be a shame if something happened to it. Are you threatening me? Blake's voice cracked slightly. Threatening you? I laughed. Blake, buddy, I don't make threats. I make promises. And here's my promise to you. Every single person in this town is going to know exactly what kind of man you are before I'm done. Every business contact, every social media connection, every woman you've ever swiped right on. They're all going to see the real Blake Jordan. You can't do that. I'll sue you for harassment. With what evidence? I haven't touched you, haven't damaged your property, haven't even raised my voice. I'm just sharing information that's already out there. Public service, really. Blake looked around the garage like he was searching for an escape route. Look, I'll end it with Claire. Walk away completely. Just leave me out of whatever revenge fantasy you're cooking up. Too late for that. I opened my phone again and showed him a screenshot of a group text. See, while you were driving over here, I was having a conversation with some friends of mine, car enthusiasts mostly. We have a pretty active online community. Share photos, trade parts, organize meets. Real tight-knit group. Blake's eyes widened as he read the messages. That photo of you and Claire at Marcello's last week, the one where she's feeding you tiramisu while wearing the necklace I bought her for Valentine's Day, that's already been shared with about 300 people, along with your LinkedIn profile and a detailed explanation of your investment opportunities with my ex-fiancée. You're insane. I'm thorough. There's a difference. I pocketed my phone and picked up the socket wrench again. Now, you've got two choices, Blake. You can get in your fancy car and drive away, never contact Claire again, and hope this all blows over. Or you can keep playing games with me and find out just how creative I can get when someone disrespects me in my own house. This isn't over. You're right, it's not. I smiled again, and this time Blake actually flinched. But for you, the smart play is to make sure your part in it is. Because I promise you, Blake, you do not want to see what comes next. Max straightened up and moved away from the BMW. Blake practically ran to his car, fumbling with his keys and backing out of the lot like the building was on fire. Think he'll listen? Max asked. Doesn't matter. I've got everything I need from him. I pulled out my phone and opened the recording app, including 45 minutes of him admitting to the affair and trying to bribe me to keep quiet about it. Max grinned. You sneaky bastard. Claire wanted memorable? She's about to find out what that really means. The Riverside Grill was Claire's favorite restaurant, the kind of upscale place where she liked to be seen by the right people. She'd texted me that morning, begging for a chance to talk like adults and work things out. I agreed to meet her, but I had my own agenda. She was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table wearing a conservative blue dress and minimal makeup, her I'm really sorry outfit. She'd ordered wine and was halfway through her first glass, which told me she was more nervous than she wanted to admit. "Eddie, thank God." She stood up as I approached, like she was going to hug me. I slid into the opposite chair instead, keeping the table between us. "Claire, I'm so glad you agreed to meet. I know things got out of hand, but we can fix this. We can fix us." I ordered a beer from the waitress and studied Claire's face. She looked tired, stressed. The billboard had been up for 3 days, and the internet attention wasn't dying down like she'd hoped. "Can we? Fix us, I mean?" "Of course we can. What happened at the restaurant, that was just, I was nervous. Wedding planning stress. You know how I get when I'm overwhelmed." "Mm-hmm. And Blake Jordan? Is he wedding planning stress too?" Claire's wine glass stopped halfway to her lips. "What?" "Blake Jordan. Silver BMW, investment opportunities. Ring any bells?" She set the glass down carefully, buying time. "Blake is a friend, a business contact. I told you I was exploring some investment options for my savings?" "Right. Business." I pulled out my phone and set it on the table between us. "Want to hear some of your business discussions?" Claire's face went white as she recognized her own voice coming from the phone's speaker. "Eddie's working late again. Come over at 9. I let it play for about 30 seconds before stopping it. The tables around us had gone quiet. Apparently we were providing the evening's entertainment. "Where did you get that?" "Your iPad. Still logged into your iCloud account." Amazing what people back up without realizing it. I leaned back in my chair. 3 months, Claire. 3 months you've been playing me for a fool while planning your upgrade. It's not what it sounds like. It's exactly what it sounds like. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Claire looked around the restaurant, acutely aware of the audience we'd attracted. "Can we please discuss this somewhere private?" "Why? Embarrassed? Worried about your image?" I took a long drink of my beer. "Funny how that works. You humiliate me in public. That's just honest communication. I return the favor. Suddenly it's inappropriate." "Eddie, please, I made a mistake. I know that. But we can work through this. We love each other." "Do we? Because according to your messages, you can't wait to dump the grease monkey and upgrade." Your words, not mine. Tears started forming in Claire's eyes. Real ones, not the crocodile tears she used when she wanted something. I was angry. I said things I didn't mean. You know how I get when I'm frustrated. "Actually, I think you meant every word. And you know what? You were right. You do deserve better than me. You deserve someone who matches your, values." "What's that supposed to mean?" I pulled up another recording on my phone, Blake's voice this time. "Claire said you two were basically over anyway, that the relationship had run its course." Claire's mouth opened and closed like she was trying to catch her breath. "He threw you under the bus in about 5 seconds, by the way. Real stand-up guy you picked for your upgrade. Eddie, here's what's going to happen." I leaned forward, lowering my voice so she had to strain to hear me. "You're going to finish your wine. You're going to pay for dinner. And you're going to walk out of here with whatever dignity you have left. Tomorrow you're going to find somewhere else to live because the lease is in my name and I want you gone. You can't just kick me out. I have rights." "Check the lease agreement. Guests can stay for 30 days maximum without being added as tenants. You've been there for 2 years, but your name's not on any of the paperwork. Legally, you're a guest who's overstayed her welcome." Claire stared at me like she was seeing a stranger. "I don't know who you are anymore." "I'm the same person I've always been. The difference is, now I know who you are too." I stood up and dropped a 20 on the table. "That should cover my beer. Good luck with your investment opportunities." I was halfway to the door when Claire's voice cut through the restaurant noise. "This isn't over, Eddie. You can't destroy my life because you're too insecure to handle a real woman." Every head in the place turned toward our table. I stopped, turned around, and walked back. Claire looked triumphant, like she'd finally gotten me to lose control. Instead, I pulled out my phone again and held it up so everyone could see the screen. The recording app was running, the timer showing it had been recording for the entire conversation. "Thanks for that closing statement," I said loudly enough for the whole restaurant to hear. "Really ties everything together nicely." Claire's face went from triumphant to horrified as she realized what had just happened. I pocketed the phone and headed for the door again, leaving her sitting alone at the table with 40 strangers staring at her and a new recording that would be online before I reached my car. My phone started buzzing before I made it to the parking lot. Text messages, missed calls, social media notifications. The recording was already spreading through my car club group, and from there it would hit the wider internet within hours. But the most interesting message came from someone I didn't expect. Sienna, Claire's best friend and biggest enabler. "We need to talk. Meet me at Murphy's bar in an hour. Come alone. Murphy's was a dive bar on the wrong side of town, the kind of place Claire would never be caught dead in, perfect for a conversation that needed to stay private. I texted back, "I'll be there." Time to find out which of Claire's friends were really friends and which ones were just waiting for their chance to watch her fall. Murphy's bar smelled like stale beer and bad decisions. Sienna was already there when I arrived, hunched over a whiskey in a corner booth that had seen better decades. She looked different without her usual Instagram-perfect makeup and designer clothes. Smaller, more human. "Eddie." She didn't stand up when I approached, just gestured to the empty seat across from her. "Thanks for coming." I slid into the booth and ordered a beer from the bartender who'd probably been working there since the Carter administration. "This is unexpected. Thought you'd be with Claire, planning my social media destruction." Sienna laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Claire doesn't know I'm here. She can't know I'm here." "Why not?" "Because she'd kill me if she found out what I'm about to tell you." Sienna drained her whiskey and signaled for another. "You want to know the truth about your perfect fiancé? The whole truth? I'm listening. Claire's been cheating on you since Christmas, but Blake isn't the first. He's not even the second." Sienna's fresh whiskey arrived, and she took a large gulp. There was Marcus from her yoga class, then David from her book club, then some guy she met at her company retreat in March. I kept my face neutral, but inside I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. "How do you know all this?" "Because I helped her cover for it. Every lie, every alibi, every fake girls' night out. I was her accomplice." Sienna stared into her drink like it held the answers to life's mysteries. "She said you were holding her back, that she deserved someone with ambition, someone who could give her the lifestyle she wanted." "And you believed that?" "I wanted to believe it. Claire and I have been friends since college. When she was happy, she was the most fun person in the world. But when she wasn't..." Sienna shook her head. "She could be cruel, really cruel. Why are you telling me this now?" Sienna reached into her purse and pulled out a USB drive, setting it on the table between us. "Because of what's on here." I picked up the drive, turning it over in my hands. "What is it?" "Recordings, videos, photos, everything." Sienna's voice was barely above a whisper. "Claire documented everything, Eddie. Every affair, every lie she told you, every plan she made. She thought it was funny. She was going to make a montage for her bachelorette party, show all her friends how easy it was to fool you." The beer in my stomach turned to acid. "She recorded herself cheating on me?" "Not the actual cheating, but the planning, the aftermath, the laughing about it with her friends. Hours of footage of her mocking you, planning to take half your business in the divorce, talking about how stupid you were for not seeing what was right in front of you." I stared at the USB drive like it was a loaded gun. "Why are you giving this to me?" "Because she crossed a line." Sienna finished her second whiskey and immediately ordered a third. "Last week, after the billboard went up, she called me panicking, said she needed to do damage control, wanted me to help her frame you." "Frame me for what?" "Abuse, stalking, harassment. She had this whole plan worked out. She was going to claim you'd been threatening her, that the billboard was part of a pattern of escalating behavior. She had fake text messages ready, bruises she was going to give herself, witnesses she'd bribed to lie for her." The bar around us seemed to fade away. "She was going to destroy my life." "She was going to destroy your life, take your business, and ride off into the sunset with Blake's money, all while playing the victim for sympathy and social media points?" Sienna met my eyes for the first time since I'd sat down. That's when I realized I didn't know her at all. The Claire I thought I was friends with wouldn't do that to anyone, no matter how angry she was. "So you decided to help me instead." "I decided to stop helping her." Sienna pushed the USB drive across the table toward me. "What you do with this is up to you. But Eddie, she's not done. The billboard embarrassed her, but it didn't stop her. She's regrouping, planning her next move, and it's going to be bad." I pocketed the USB drive and left money on the table for both our drinks. "Sienna, when this all comes out, and it will come out, Claire's going to know it came from you." "I know." She smiled sadly. "I should have done this months ago. Maybe then you wouldn't have wasted money on that ring." I stood up to leave, then paused. "For what it's worth, you're doing the right thing." "The right thing?" Sienna laughed bitterly. "I helped my best friend destroy the one good relationship she had, and now I'm betraying her to fix it. There's no right thing here, Eddie, just different kinds of wrong." I left her in that dive bar with her whiskey and her guilt, the USB drive burning a hole in my pocket. Outside, I sat in my truck for a long time, staring at the neon sign flickering in Murphy's window. Claire wanted to play games. She wanted to frame me, take my business, destroy my reputation. Game on. But first, I needed to see exactly what was on Sienna's little gift, and then I needed to make some calls, starting with my lawyer and ending with the local news station that had been trying to get an interview with me since the billboard story broke. Claire thought the billboard was embarrassing. She had no idea what embarrassment really looked like, but she was about to learn. The USB drive contained 47 video files, over 300 photos, and enough text message screenshots to fill a small book. I spent the entire night going through it all, my laptop screen casting an eerie glow in my darkened garage office. Claire had documented everything, not just the affairs, but the planning, the lies, the elaborate schemes to cover her tracks. She'd filmed herself practicing fake tears for when she'd have to confess to emotional affairs. She'd recorded strategy sessions with her friends about how to manage me. She'd even made a spreadsheet tracking which lies she'd told to which people. But the worst part was listening to her laugh. In video after video, she'd collapse into giggles while describing how clueless I was, how easy I was to manipulate, how pathetic my attempts at romance were. "He actually thinks I want to marry him," she said in one video, dated just 2 weeks before my proposal. Can you imagine? Eddie Turner, grease monkey extraordinaire, thinking he's good enough for me. I'm just waiting for Blake to make his move, then I'll dump the dead weight and upgrade to first class. By dawn, I had a plan, not just for revenge, for justice. My first call was to my lawyer, Jim Rodriguez, who'd handled the paperwork when I bought the garage. "Jim, I need to know about recording laws in this state. If someone records themselves committing a crime, can that recording be used against them?" "Depends on the crime. What are we talking about here? Fraud, conspiracy, maybe extortion." I gave him the broad strokes of Claire's plan to frame me. "I have recordings of her planning the whole thing." "She recorded herself planning to frame you for domestic abuse?" "Among other things." "How fast can you get a restraining order?" "If the evidence is solid, same day." "Eddie, what the hell have you gotten yourself into?" "Nothing I didn't get pushed into. Can you meet me at the garage in an hour?" My second call was to Detective Sarah Martinez at the local police department. We'd met a few years back when someone had tried to break into my garage, and she'd been impressed by my security system. More importantly, she'd made it clear that she didn't have much patience for people who filed false police reports. "Detective Martinez, this is Eddie Turner. I need to report a planned crime." "What kind of crime, Eddie?" "Someone's planning to file false police reports against me. Domestic violence, stalking, harassment. I have recordings of them planning the whole thing." There was a pause. "You have recordings of someone planning to file false reports?" "Video recordings, audio recordings, text messages, the works. They documented everything." "Bring it all down to the station, now." My third call was to Channel 7 News. They'd been calling me for days, wanting an interview about the billboard story. Time to give them something better. "This is Eddie Turner. You've been calling about the billboard story? I've got something bigger, much bigger. Can you be at my garage at noon with a camera crew?" "What kind of bigger?" "The kind that involves fraud, conspiracy, and enough evidence to put someone in jail. The billboard was just the beginning." By 10 a.m., my garage was buzzing with activity. Jim arrived with restraining order paperwork. Detective Martinez showed up with 2 other officers and a digital forensics specialist. The Channel 7 News crew set up their equipment in my office. And at exactly 11:30, Claire walked through my front door like she owned the place. She was dressed to kill. Literally, it seemed. Designer dress, perfect makeup, and what looked like carefully applied bruises on her arms and neck. She had her phone out, recording, and Sienna trailing behind her looking sick to her stomach. "Eddie." Claire's voice was loud, theatrical, designed to carry. "We need to talk. You can't keep harassing me like this." She stopped short when she saw the police officers, the lawyer, and the news crew. The color drained from her face so fast I thought she might faint. "Ms. Dalton?" Detective Martinez stepped forward. "We need to have a conversation." What's going on here?" "We're investigating reports of conspiracy to file false police reports, among other things." Martinez nodded toward the bruises on Claire's arms. "Those look fresh. When did you sustain those injuries?" Claire's eyes darted around the room like a trapped animal. "Eddie did this. Last night. He came to my hotel and—" "That's interesting," Martinez interrupted. "Because Mr. Turner was at the police station from 8 p.m. until midnight last night, filing his own report, with about 6 officers who can verify his whereabouts." The silence in the garage was deafening. Claire looked at Sienna, who was staring at the floor. Then she looked at me, and I saw the exact moment she realized she'd walked into a trap. "I want a lawyer," she whispered. "That's probably a good idea," Martinez agreed. "You're under arrest for conspiracy to file false police reports, attempted fraud, and harassment. You have the right to remain silent." As Martinez read Claire her rights, the news camera captured every second. Claire's perfect makeup ran down her face in black streaks. The fake bruises looked ridiculous under the harsh lights. And when they led her away in handcuffs, she looked like exactly what she was, a small, petty person who'd finally been caught. The news story ran that evening. Local woman arrested for elaborate frame-up plot. They had everything: the billboard, the recordings, the fake bruises, the dramatic arrest. Within hours, it was trending on social media. But the real satisfaction came 3 days later, when Blake called me. "You destroyed her," he said without preamble. "She destroyed herself. I just made sure everyone could see it." Her life is ruined. Her career, her reputation, everything. Good, that was the point. I was working on a carburetor, and I didn't stop to take the call. "You calling to threaten me, Blake?" "I'm calling to tell you I'm leaving town. New job, new city. I want nothing to do with any of this." "Smart move. Give my regards to your next victim." He hung up without another word. Claire pleaded guilty to avoid jail time, but the damage was done. The recordings had gone viral. Her employer fired her. Her family disowned her. Her friends abandoned her. She became a cautionary tale, a meme, a punchline. 6 months later, I heard she'd moved across the country and changed her name. Started over somewhere nobody knew her story. I kept the ring, not out of sentiment, but as a reminder. Sometimes the best proposal is the one you never make. Sometimes the best revenge is just letting people see who someone really is. And sometimes, when someone tells you that you're not good enough for them, the smartest thing you can do is believe them.